Hello, hello, hello.
Yay! Good evening. Good
That was very
evening.
quick and abrupt
There we
for
go.
me.
I was on the wrong side. It was throwing me off. I'm gonna fix that.
Oh, uh, welcome, 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 welcome to Let's Have a Fefe. We are your Wednesday night conversation. Um, I live here, but I still late, and
Not only
I
do you
didn't get
live
a
there, but
chance.
you were actually home today, and you still didn't log in until 7:59.
Let me explain to you. Well, you make it sound like I don't give a shit about what's going on here. So let's just be clear that there's a lot of things happening here. There's the kids going everywhere. Everybody's got their own agenda. And then by the time I get over to where I am, then I don't get to where I need to be until the very last second. So that's how that goes. And it's
Damn kids.
usually how it goes most of the time. So, welcome to the Wednesday night conversation. This is the first time I feel like I've actually sat down and not done anything all day. Um,
Sounds about right.
for those with
Same thing.
children.
I'm like, I don't know what I did all day. I must have done something, but I have no idea what it was.
Uh, but I wish I could have got to the show sheet sooner rather than later because I fell asleep last night trying to do this show sheet and I did not finish it at all. Said
It's fine.
things had happened. Anyway, we're here now, right? We're here. Mind is clear. This is the Wednesday night conversation. Yes. It's Valentine's fucking day for those that it matters. Um, I have seen a lot of mm, people posting about LOVE, and when I see them in public, they're not with those people. But
Uh,
I digress. Um, we want to thank our Patreon supporters who dive in every week and get our. We actually have been keeping up with
I failed
the Patreon
this
this
week,
time
and I
around.
apologize.
Oh,
Um,
it's
I don't
okay.
know where the hell I don't know where the hell my days went. They went
It's
somewhere,
okay though.
but
It's okay though.
it's all right because
But we
basically,
still
if you
have
get the Patreon,
regular
like
content going.
the this is true. I mean, the whole behind the scenes, like the whole after show thing, basically from last week, will essentially consist of we solved Bubblegate.
Yes, and you'll understand why we were so excited, and we figured something else out along with the bubble. So it's all good,
Uh,
and
oh my
um,
god!
how festive! Somebody screenshot that.
Oh my
Anyway,
god!
on Patreon, we talk about Bubblegate and some thoughts of the show. We want to thank Brandon, Chris, and Michelle, Dee, Drake Jensen, Casey Starr, Carrie and Corey, Kim, Joan, Leanne, Nicole, and Shannon. I feel like there's so many more, but
I still wonder if Chris actually gave Michelle the Patreon information, because for a
from what I
while there, Chris was
hear,
the only one that had it, and
from
Michelle
what I
never actually
hear,
got it.
it's a hit. It's a hit or miss. It's a hit or miss. I think Chris may be hogging the password, hogging down Patreon, the Patreon. But if you too want to support us on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/letsafifi. We want to thank our I want to say like she's our title sponsor this year 'cause,
I'm gonna say so.
because nobody approached us this year and nor did we um have the time to approach others. But if you want to sponsor us like Marissa has for Wigs of a Kind, most of the time the wig that I'm wearing is a Wigs of a Kind wig. and whenever
Really,
for
if I'm wearing a wig, it's usually a Wigs of a Kind wig.
yes.
Yeah.
And you too can support us, sponsor us by going to paypal.me/ let's have a fifi, or send one of us a message and we will point you in the right direction to start a conversation. Oh, I also, the beep is back.
Oh, for God, why?
I don't know why.
Why?
And by the time I got in here, the kids were already asleep. So you're welcome, everybody. Um,
This is why we can't have nice things.
this is why you should sponsor us. See, so I can afford to. At this point, I'm gonna hire
Get a
somebody.
ladder. Just
I'm just gonna hire somebody to
sponsor us so
replace the
Felicia can get a
battery
fucking
for
ladder.
me. Can I be that person? Um, but yes,
Probably cheaper than
sponsor
buying
us.
a ladder at this point.
I mean, yeah, if you want to buy me a ladder, yeah, I'm down. It has to be about 7 foot or better. And I'm not being a size queen. It is way up there. And it would be so easy if it was like right here, like like in a regular
Can you move it?
house.
Like, can you get up there and move it to a
No.
normal place, or
It's
is it
at
like
the like
attached?
top of the vaulted ceiling. If my room
By
wasn't
the
such a mess,
time
I would
any
move.
smoke got up there, you'd be fucking dead. Like, Jesus Christ.
Sure. And there's one that's even higher on the other side that was starting to go off last week, and we shut that down real quick.
Oh my God.
Um, but it doesn't seem to be beeping. This one seems to like think that it needs all of the batteries and all of the things. Anyway, I digress. But if you want to sponsor us, we have Patreon and we have PayPal. I have not been texting people because I need to find
Shit.
more time in my day. Beyonce has 24 hours. Look at me, I'm failing. You can text LHAF to 602-730-7379. And when I have the time, I will text you about show
I'll text you
alerts.
when she feels like it.
There is supposed to be an alert that's automatic, but it hasn't been working when we start going live. So boopity boop boop boop.
Mm.
Anyway, thanks to everybody that supports us using the stars on Facebook. If you want to sponsor us that way, you can tap the little stars. In January, we got 11 cents. That.
Hey, that's
I don't know if that included
excellent.
Justin's 20 stars. If that's 20
Uh,
stars, that means Facebook gets 9 cents for every 20 stars.
mm, it's a
So
racket.
if you want to like donate 500 stars, then I think we'll be more on the
Oh my God.
give it
It's
to the
fine.
I don't know, give it to us kind of thing. I don't know. I'm lost when
Uh,
it comes to money. How was your weekend? I spent part of it with you.
you did. It was actually it started off good and then wasn't ended up not great, but no big like issues.
Huh?
Just so Friday we had the Drag Story Hour birthday fundraiser,
Hmm.
and
And I was
we
supposed to
did.
bring this too on Friday. I
Oh,
I put it on just
cool. Yeah, you were supposed to bring stickers and all this stuff. It's
yeah.
fine. It's fine. And we actually did so well. I didn't know. I had no idea what we're. I had been tasked with putting together the drag show for it, and I'm.
Let's
Everybody
say
knows
that
I'm super
again.
fucking picky.
You
I
produced the show.
I I did. I produced the show, but it was easy because I it was I mean I'm very picky about the people that I always choose to work with if I have a choice. And I was not wrong. I was Felicia, myself, Geo, Justin Sider, and Rita Bain. And I, first of all, I had to have Justin in it because Michelle is a total fangirl. So that was like a no-brainer. Um, and Felicia, Geo, and myself are some of the regular storytellers. And I just love Rita fucking I just love Rita. Rita's phenomenal. And the show went so well. Everybody fucking loved it. And we raised over $3,000 for Drag Story Hour, which is
Brr, 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 brr.
fucking fantastic. Like, it was amazing. And the whole thing was just so much fun, and it was so good. Um, there were people in the audience who had never been to a drag show before, and they kept coming up afterwards. They're like, "Oh my god, this was so great!" I was like, "Oh shit!" There, now we set the bar high.
Mhm.
And there were people that hadn't been to a drag show in Arizona. Um, so
You want to sell some money?
it was
Mm.
so good. I have a piece of fuzz in my nose and it's driving me crazy. Either that or I have like a mustache hair. This is had to curl up. Um, but it was so good. It was so much fun. There was cake. We raised
Laura, let's talk.
money. The audience had a fucking blast. Like the raffle baskets were all a big hit. Like it was awesome. The whole thing was fantastic. The downside, however, is that I got home uh that night and was kind of like I wasn't feeling great, but I passed it off to like loud and music and lights and things, which can sometimes kind of give me a little bit of a headache, but then it goes away. The headache didn't go away. I ended
Uh-oh.
up with a screaming migraine at the end of the night, and
What?
yeah, oh no, like I was nauseous, like it was not okay. It was not okay at all. And I felt a little bit better on Saturday, but not great. And D ended up not feeling well. So between the two of us, we were trying to get like some of the household stuff done. And it was very slow going. Like I kept having to stop and like sit down and rest because moving too much made my head hurt. We got some stuff done, not as much as we wanted, but and
What?
then Sunday was kind of the same. We tried to do a little bit more around the house, but it was hard because neither one of us was feeling spectacular. So we were able to kind of sit down and start working on some of the steampunk props and stuff. Um, and totally fucking forgot that the Superb Owl was happening until our daughter happened to mention that she was going to a friend's house to go watch it. We were like, oh,
Yay, sports
that's
ball.
right. Yeah, totally. I don't watch it because I don't care. So totally forgot that was happening. So don't try to talk to me about it because I didn't.
I love
Um,
it.
and
Oh, you made
yes, D
amazing wings?
really not wings that you eat, but like steampunk wings, like fairy wings.
Oh,
Not the
oh,
Edie wings. Not Edie wings. No, no.
oh.
Mm. Like for
I was gonna say, wow,
yeah, no,
wow.
no. No, no. No, no.
That's awesome too, because
Right. No, they
here
look
I am,
fantastic.
doused in feathers.
Right. How was your weekend?
So I enjoyed the Drag Story Hour fundraiser. Had some friends come. Also, shout out to Shannon, um, Melissa, and her husband from Drink Me Tea Room. And
Gabe
we
and
saw,
Jesse.
yeah, from Brick Road. And then also hiding in the back, all in the back, was Gray Matter and Eva Angelica Stratton
Oh, that's right. I
enjoying
did
the
see
show.
them. Dustin Riot
So
was there as well. Like he actually came out of the
yeah,
house, which was kind of fun. So all sorts of
it
people
was
came out of the
just
woodwork.
like
It was great.
all kinds of people that I was like, hey, we're just having a little family party in here. Um, People messaging me after a couple of the people that I invited, that was their first drag show. And so we definitely did set the bar high because they were, yes, they were there. They were kinda, like, incognito. I tried to, like, get them to the front, but I didn't know, like, is that, like, too
They
much
were
if I,
like
like
sitting in the back, like
they were,
left.
like, in on the side that, Destin was on. Um, but yeah, it was a great time. Um, People wanting to know when story hours were, gonna be happening and sent them on their merry way to the social medias. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I
Oh,
can message you their numbers. or I only have one of their numbers, I think.
That's awesome. I love that we're recruiting more people.
Yeah. And they would be great because they work with children. So, um yeah, I got home on Friday and was like, because usually I, de-drag and then I'm like,
Mhm.
what can I do? What can I? Um, so first mistake on Friday was usually when I have a show, especially when it's that close to like 4 o'clock ish, that I need to be ready. I usually take the whole day off. But we had a couple of events going on at work and I needed to be there. And so like when you tell people like half day, sometimes that's a boundary that I'm working with. And I didn't even put my thumb up. Yeah, it's a boundary I'm working with. Thanks, fucking computer jerk. Anyway,
Your computer's like, "Yes, boundaries. Good for you."
yes, as we've talked about that here before. Um, wow, karma is showing up on the screen these days.
That's funny.
Out. Yeah, and so I was telling everyone backstage, like, 15-minute face, because that's what I did. I like rushed home. Luckily, I had like thrown like a pile of costumes together. Um, and so like I was like, I guess this is what I'm wearing. Um, and luckily shoes matched and it all panned out. But yeah, it was a 15-minute face and still got there on time. Please note that.
Nicely done.
Please note that,
Yeah,
folks.
yes, this is true. This is true.
Just need all
This
of
is
you to
true.
note that because I know some of you that spend like the whole day painting your face and then never mind. Um, and I was so surprised that we raised the amount of money that we raised for the amount of people that were there.
Mhm.
In fact, I've been in rooms with like way more people and raised way less money. Not me personally,
Mhm.
but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes. Yeah. No, for sure.
and so it felt so good. I felt good about performances. I felt good about, um, just the overall energy of the event. Um, and for those that have watched us talk about some of the struggles of Drag Story Hour, I'm glad that didn't happen. Um, I mean, I feel like they were whatever. Anyway, so loved it. Yes, we all donated tips. But if you want to help a drag entertainer, too can tip. But
We
yeah,
can
great
be a
time.
charitable organization.
And the rest of the weekend, I couldn't believe that we've never done this before, or maybe we haven't done it in a while. Is take the kids to the library.
Huh.
Um, I don't know why, but I was like, "Hey, you guys want to go to the library?" And everybody was like, "Yeah, let's go." And I was like, because usually when I come up with an idea, it's like, why, you know? So we had fun doing that. And then we pretty much chilled out on Super Bowl Sunday. Um, my thoughts on, let's just get it out of the way. Um, I'm going to the performance, not the game. I didn't care that Taylor was there. I did love that celebrities were there. That's what I'll preface that with. Um, Show, I enjoyed it. Um, and then I watched some interviews before. So Usher had to take his 30-year catalog of music and try to shrink it into 13 minutes. And so
Oh,
like
Jesus.
reading some of the comments on like performance wise, at first I didn't because I didn't catch the beginning. So I didn't really understand how it was all going. and so, like, I had to rewatch it online, but, even watching it in the on live, I thought, "God, he is doing a lot." And so, like, seeing the non-performers talk about how he gave, like, not, like, a level of performance that they had expected, I was thinking, most of you can't even walk to the mailbox, and you're critiquing this. So, what I and then I will follow that with, I think, as I have been, I felt like lackluster when male entertainers perform at the Super Bowl. I felt like he went not overboard, but I felt like he didn't have a moment like that. I don't know, like, it didn't feel like he had a moment. At the end,
Mm,
maybe it was a moment, but, like, he didn't have a moment. Like, I felt like,
mm. Yeah,
um
I didn't even go to YouTube and watch it after the fact. I
well,
didn't
I
go.
thought it was so overall, I thought it was great. I just wish that he had had a moment. Because
Mm,
I know that you get wrapped up in, like, you wanna use every song and you wanna, um
right.
yes, so something that they did do, though, is they did put, spotlight on the ASL, interpreters that were, accompanying the people that were singing, like, the national anthem and the Black national anthem. They even announced their names and put them on the screen, and
Mm,
they they did get, they were on there. They announced them, and years before, they have never announced them. Um, one thing I wish, though, is that they were more on the screen so that if
mm.
if you announce them, but then, like, they're not there
Then
anymore,
and then nothing.
and you're like, "Wait, so where is my interpretation of this at?"
Right.
So, um
So the one thing I did do is after like when everybody was watching this, I was on Facebook and everybody was started talking about the Wicked preview. So
yes.
that I did go to check out. And okay, I,
Do you like it or you dislike it?
so here's the thing. I
You
have
dislike
read
it.
I've read the book. In fact, I've read the entire series by
Uh-huh.
Gregory Maguire like several times over. I have seen the
If you didn't know,
musical.
there is a series of books. We read
They're
over
actually
here on this
fantastic. They're so
podcast.
good. They're so
We
so
read
good.
here in this podcast, just so you're aware.
And I've seen the musical, I think
I have not seen it.
9 or 10 times on the stage.
Oh,
So,
wow. Even with the
I've seen it
original,
if
like
no, I never got to see it with Idina Menzel, and
oh,
that
I was
would have
about to
required
say,
me
I
going
am
to New
so
York.
jealous.
But the touring cast that I've seen, I
Mhm.
think every single one of them could absolutely give them a run for their money. So, here's my thing. Everybody was like, "Oh my god, this looks so good." And I watched it and I was like, "Really?
Mhm.
Y'all are going nuts over this?" Cuz I didn't. I didn't at all. One of the things that bugged me is on the preview, um Elphaba like comes up and Galinda looks at her and goes like, "Oh my, you're green." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I am." She knows she's fucking green. She's been green her entire
Her whole life.
fucking life. This is not a surprise. And the way that she said it in the preview, she was like, "Oh yeah, I guess I am." Like, are
Well,
you
to me,
st-"
I
And
almost
it didn't come across as sarcastic either. Like it
no,
didn't
and to
read as
me, it
sarcastic.
felt like somebody would walk up to me and say, "Oh, you're black." Be like, "Oh, I am."
I don't know.
Like, for me, that would be sarcastic, though.
Right. It didn't read that way though in the preview. Like it was genuinely she was like it was like, "Oh my god, I guess I am green." I was like, "Yeah, she's been green her whole fucking life. Like this is not a surprise." And that the ending note in the preview, which is supposed to be that last note in Defying Gravity,
Mhm.
what the fuck was
Oh, I wish I
that?
would've pulled it up. Hold on, let's see.
Because I heard it and I was like,
Disappointed.
really? It it sounded pitchy, it sounded flat, and it didn't have that punch that it's supposed to have. And so I don't know why the fuck everybody was going nuts over this preview, because I definitely did not. I was like, this is what you're giving me? Like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, what even is this? Like, what is so
Let's see. Everybody and their mom.
I'm nervous
Oh,
about this, and I don't know why they're splitting it into 2,
ooh,
but
you don't think it's worth it?
I don't know that it needs it, but I don't know. I'm
How do
very
I
not like
let's just
I'm
look at it.
underwhelmed.
How
So
do
I
I
don't know
share
why
my
the fuck
screen
everybody
again?
was like, "Oh my god, the Wicked thing. It was everything. Oh my god." I was like, "Why? Why is this everything? Why is this so exciting?" Like, yeah,
It
they're
was
splitting it into 2 movies, which I don't know why they're splitting it into 2 movies. The stage play isn't, you know, 6 hours long, so I don't know why. Oh, are you got it? Okay,
yeah.
we have the preview.
Let's see. Do I put it on the screen first? What do I do here?
Sure.
I haven't done this in a while. Sorry.
Yeah.
The best way to bring folks together
Something has changed within me.
is to give them a real good enemy.
You're green.
This is the part you're talking about.
I am.
Something is not the same.
Yeah, I'm like
Something
it
just
doesn't
takes
read as
over me.
sarcasm the way she does.
And when it does, bad things happen.
Once you learn to harness your emotions, the sky's the limit.
Bring her to me.
Does it bother anybody that both these filters are not red?
Don't be afraid. I'm not afraid. It's the wizard who should be afraid of me.
Mm.
Hmm.
I I mean, like I guess it was fine, but it wasn't all that. Like I said, I've read the books, I've seen the play, like and I'm just like,
Mm.
eh.
Mm.
I I'm here for everything like Michelle Yeoh. I see. I didn't like that last note. I was like, it didn't have that punch
But
for
are
me.
you comparing folks?
I'm comparing it to literally the 10 times that I have seen the stage play. And that last note for me didn't have the punch that every single alphabet that I've ever seen. Like
Mhm.
every single time I've seen it, that last note gives me goosebumps like you would not believe. And
Hmm.
I got nothing. I was just like,
Um, I don't know how to feel because I have not seen it on stage.
oh, you need to.
Um,
It's so good.
I need to
But that is
actually
actually where the first act ends. So I'm guessing that after Defying Gravity is where the first
they
movie's
cut
going
the
to end.
movie.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 2 movies? How many
Yeah.
acts are there?
There's 2 acts. There's always at least 2 acts in a like a stage musical stage play. But the end of the first act ends with Defying Gravity. Like she hits that note and blackout.
Mm,
So that's probably where they're going to end the movie. I don't
that's
know.
weird.
I'm just not.
You're not hyped up.
I don't think it needs 2 movies. I was not as impressed with the preview as everybody else seemed to be. I was like, I mean,
Okay, D.
I don't know.
You and I, when it
I
comes
haven't
through.
seen it since before the pandemic, so I'm due for another run too.
Okay, so we're all due for a viewing of the musical before this horrible movie comes out.
I'm so worried
Um,
about it. I don't know. I'm just
and then we'll all go see the movie together, and then we can do a Patreon special about how we reacted.
and I don't know how I feel about Ariana Grande being in it. I don't
Here's my thing. I
Mm,
felt like when new movies get made like this, like, The Color Purple maybe didn't feel too much like this, but they were chasing names instead of, uh,
right. Instead of actual
talent.
talent. Yeah.
And that's how we get stuck with things like this. And then, like 10 years later, somebody's going to come through and go, hold on, I can do that. And I will find the perfect person for that. I'm worried that Cynthia, I don't know how to say her last name, that plays the green one, because I don't know how
Mm,
to say that name either.
Elphaba.
Yeah, go for it. Um, um, I'm just really worried because she really, like you're saying, doesn't really. She has range, but she doesn't have that range. So I'm
That's and
interested.
that's what I'm concerned with, because everybody that I've ever seen play Elphaba, like, they have this like power voice that is like, holy shit. And
Mhm.
so I don't
I don't
know.
know.
We'll see.
We're
We
not
shall
part of
see.
the casting, but also
Maybe I
thought
should be.
that
Maybe that's the problem.
I also thought that it was one of the many trailers that I felt lackluster for,
Mm,
especially when it was like, go check out the trailer online. I'm like, oh, well, it's clear to me that you're like trying to get web traffic.
right.
That's awful. Like,
Yeah.
gross. Especially as a fellow marketer, I'm like, "Ugh." But cheers to Beyonce, and just want everybody to know that this is not the first time Beyonce has done country, and that she's not the first Black person to do country.
Oh my god,
That's
black
sad.
people do country? What?
It started on the backs of Black people, but we turned it into a whitewash?
Never.
Oh.
Great. We're gonna have back to having every fucking queen doing Defying Gravity for everything now. And I thought we got done with that. Now it's gonna be back again. I'm so over it. There was a while
Um,
there that literally every queen was doing some version of Defying Gravity for whatever fucking show or pageant they were in.
you're welcome.
God.
We like to wear out the wheels on the tires.
So,
Uh,
for my tip tonight, this is more of a conversation. And I debated about this because it's Valentine's Day, which I really don't give a shit about. But, and I was like, well, maybe I should do something more lovey and happy. And then I'm like, no, you know what? Fuck that. Um, so my tip is,
it is a break from This Is Me.
oh my God, I know. Um, so my tip is kind of more of a discussion, because I had this thing happen to me last night, and it legitimately pissed me off.
Ooh.
And so my whole thing,
Like level 10?
oh yeah, like it was not okay.
Oh.
So here's the thing. Being an adult means that you're going to have discussions, you're going to have conflict, you're going to have all these things, that come up because you're a fucking adult that is interacting with
Bill.
other fucking adults, right?
Mhm.
And this thing that happened last night really kind of made me realize that not everyone is a team player, and some folks are really just looking for reasons to be hostile. So I'm gonna try and
We call those problematic people?
mm, so I'm gonna try and keep this as I'm gonna try and give you the Cliff's Notes version as best I can. Well, okay. So
This is the Cliff Notes version?
it was mostly the notes so that I didn't leave anything out.
Oh, okay.
So my partner and I we're tasked with being essentially the lead entertainment social managers for a conference that's coming up in the spring, right? And let mind you that the organization of this conference has been a hot fucking mess for months. The owner of the conference thought that she was going to be out of town, and then tried to like delegate, different areas for folks to handle, which in theory makes sense, right? It's a big conference. One person doing it is like, it's not realistic. So having people in charge of different areas makes sense for something like this. But there were problems with it right off the bat. There was poor communication. It was like too many cooks in the kitchen. There were too many head chefs. There weren't enough sous chefs. People were dropping out. Things got shuffled. I had originally been doing like the entertainment and social stuff with someone else, and then they dropped out. Didn't mention anything to me. Didn't know that they were dropping out. Um, and
Well,
then all of a
damn.
sudden, right. And then all of a sudden, my partner is the lead with me, which she didn't know. They didn't talk to her about that either. It was like, okay, now the leads on this are me and D. And I'm like, okay, cool,
And they
whatever.
didn't tell you?
Not there wasn't a conversation about it. It was posted somewhere that this was happening. I'm like, or it was an email, I think maybe. I'm not sure. Like I said, the communication has not been awesome. So a few weeks ago, we were in a Zoom meeting with the person that kind of owns the conference because she is kind of back doing it now because she's not going to be out of town. With myself, my partner, a person who was sort of like the second in command and helping with a lot of like the like keeping things wrangled and stuff, and then two individuals who were supposed to be in charge of the speakers, right? So their job was to, and mind you, they took over after the person that was previously doing it dropped out. So and their main job is to contact the speakers, get everybody confirmed, and then work on like scheduling speakers and things like that. That's basically what their their job was, right? And it was kind of weird because I had no idea who these people were or why they were suddenly in this meeting with us who were supposed to be doing the entertainment. But I'm like, all right, this is fine. But we literally went into this meeting and they had everything already planned out as far as entertainment. We're going to do this on this day, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. And we're just sort of like,
Say what
wait a
now?
minute. Yeah. So we pushed back a little bit on some of the stuff and, had them change a couple things because I was like, no, this isn't. Because it's like, okay, if we're supposed to be leads, then why the fuck are we even here if they already have it all done, right? Like, what's the fucking point? So whatever, I thought it was fine. It's all good, whatever. Fast forward a few days later, and then all of a sudden in the Slack group for the entertainment stuff, one of the individuals started talking about a drag show that they want to bring in. Admitting, of course, that they forgot to follow up on the thing that they were supposed to follow up on, which is what was talked about in the meeting. So like that was like, oh yeah, totally didn't want to do, like I totally forgot about that this whole thing was supposed to happen. But also let's do this drag show thing. And I'm like, now, right.
Whoa.
So here's the thing. I'm one of these people, I know this is weird, but I don't think drag needs to be at all events. I don't. I
What?
don't, I get sick of seeing drag all the fucking time. Like there are other forms of entertainment. I'm like,
Uh?
drag does not need to be at everything. And when I looked into who this person wanted to bring in, number one, I'd never heard of them. Like I'd never heard of them. I don't know who these people are. And number two, when I went to go find them
Ooh.
online, their whole thing is basically messy drag, like stuff that needs tarps, stuff that that's their whole shtick is messy shit.
Just
And
want y'all to know that's not me.
so here's the thing. The fact of the matter is myself and D are the lead as far as like, we're the lead people on the entertainment stuff, right? So I explained that, first of all, I didn't think we needed a drag show, and that a drag show that is all about being messy probably was not a good idea to do at a hotel. In fact, it's kind of a liability because say you're messing with fake blood or glitter or whatever the fuck it is that you're doing, and that
They
shit
hate
gets
it.
somewhere,
They
right?
hate it.
That could result in additional cleaning fees, and that could result in us not being able to do it again at this venue, hold this conference
Plus,
again at
they
this
don't
venue.
make the carpet and stuff for that,
Right,
especially in hotels.
right.
If it's like a convention center, they're there for, like, all types of things, and their carpet generally is made of, like, those squares that come up so you can, like,
Mm-hmm.
take them off
Right.
if something gets messed up.
So, yeah. And the whole night that we were trying to plan was very much in like a time crunch, and any excess cleanup could cut into that time. So I said that I wasn't comfortable booking a show with like drag artists that I'm not able to personally vet. I'm like, this has nothing to do with anything. This is a business thing. I have a name in the drag community. I've worked very hard for my name and reputation, and I'm not comfortable, like, just bringing somebody in that I can't do anything. Like, I don't know them. I can't vet them. I can't vouch for them. And this person that was trying to bring them in admittedly says they're not into the
Wait, it's
scene.
only
They
1
really don't know
hour?
anything. 1 hour. 1
Oh, you
hour.
can't. I mean, that would be a
So,
very quick drag show, but that
right.
probably wouldn't be a
Now,
very good drag show.
and I said, if you felt that drag had to be a thing, I could probably put one together with some trusted entertainers. But I also mentioned things like compensation. And in that discussion, I figured out that the budget wasn't big enough to fairly compensate any entertainers, which maybe go back to, we really don't need drag. Like, and people that work with me know that when throwing ideas around like that, I am polite and I am professional. Like, that's just, I'm not necessarily all buddy buddy, but I am polite and I am professional because it's a fucking business, right? And also, I have receipts. We got screenshots of this entire fucking conversation that was happening. And the next message from the individual was basically, okay, then me and this other person, we're out. They just bounced, gone. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Literally, what the fuck just happened? And I'm like, that's not
They
how
hung up
you.
on the Zoom call?
No. This is all happening in Slack. This was all happening in the Slack chat room.
Oh.
And so they were just like, which is how I have receipts, because we have screenshots of all of it.
Oh.
And I was like, wait, what? There was no further discussion. The person left the Slack group. So D and I were like, all right, well then, never mind. I guess we'll just keep doing what we were doing. We also made a call to the conference organizer and owner because we had no idea what had happened. We were like, we have no idea. No fucking clue. And the organizer was able to see the exchange in the Slack group. So it's not like anything was being hidden. Like, it was all right there. She agreed that a messy drag show probably wasn't the best idea, but loved what our alternative idea was, which was karaoke. Because poly people love karaoke. But because the individual left and then left no room for further discussion, we hoped that the conference organizer could potentially help clear things up, because we had no idea why they just bounced out like that. Like, I've never had somebody do that before. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what? So fast forward to last night, right? And the conference owner had spoken to the two individuals, one of them, mind you, who had never actually engaged in the conversation. But you could tell that these two people were having little discussions on the side. So it was, you could tell that was happening. And this is where we both, D and myself, were livid after this. So one of the individuals, the one that actually didn't weigh in on the conversation, but was having side conversations with this other person, has been going to the conference since its inception. Okay, great. Bravo. Don't
Good
fucking
job
care.
for them. Good job
Right.
for them.
The
They
other
need a
one,
trophy of some sort.
right. The other one has gone the last 3 years. And apparently they felt that because of that, they knew best. They said, and these are direct quotes, they said that the conversation, and by the conversation, they mean me, that the conversation felt elitist, and that
What?
and that this is what gets me, and that my not listening to them was oblivious, mediocre white privilege.
I have questions.
Me too.
Before you go on. Are these two also white?
One of them I'm unsure, the other one no.
Okay.
And so
um,
they also have no desire to have like a follow-up conversation. They have no desire for any sort of reconciliation. I'm like, what the flying fuck? Now, here's the thing. Those of you who know me and have worked with the shows, worked in the shows that I have produced, have attended any of the presentations that Teddy Michael and I have done, know that number one, I talk about and acknowledge my white cis assumed male privilege. I talk about it all the time. We've talked about it here. We've talked about all sorts of, like, we talk about all the fucking time.
I concur.
And I work very hard, and I think Felicia and Teddy Michael and other folks that I know, I work very hard to be aware of situations where things like privilege could be a factor, because I'm very aware of my privilege. I'm like,
But
I'm
how would
aware of
your
it.
privilege overtake that you only have an hour and that there's
Right.
no compensation?
Right. But because I didn't listen to them, apparently, and like I said, I have the receipts where I was having a very, what I was attempting to do was having a professional conversation about, and I thought I was very clear and very, very polite and very professional as to why this had literally anything to do with it. I'm sorry, but it's not. And if it were, I'm fine with like, no, yeah, I no. If you are incapable of having a conversation and a discussion in the context of business without getting defensive and hostile and pulling the I'm being oppressed card, then working with people is not for you. And here's the thing, we all know those people who they make their entire personality about being oppressed because they're a part of a marginalized community. Like, these people don't like me because I'm trans. No, these people don't like you because you're kind of a dick. Like, that's just, like,
Uh-huh. Mhm. Mm.
it like it's, or, I didn't get this job because I am insert marginalized group here. No, you didn't get it
Oh,
because you didn't interview well. Like, we've all seen it, whether it's pageants, whether it's whatever it is. Like, we've all seen it. I know, God, I don't know how many times I come across a trans person that literally everybody's out to get them because they're trans. And it's like, no, that's really not how that works. Privilege and elitism exist 100%. Absolutely, these things exist. But not every disagreement, not every discussion, not every conflict revolves around those things. It
interesting.
Especially when there really wasn't any conflict. Like, there wasn't. Like, if your like go-to is to play one of those cards when faced with a situation where you are not agreed with, or maybe your idea isn't the best one, then you may need to really re-examine why you're so incredibly like willing to
Offended.
just go there. Like, why? Like, there was no need for it. And like I said, like,
But why not have that conversation when you're having the conversation in the first place, if they felt some kind of way?
right. But there is no conversation. And like, and that's all it was. Like I said, I have receipts. And anyone who is a part of a marginalized community, whether it's race, religion, gender identity, sexual preference, relationship style, whatever, we've all dealt with the discrimination. We've all dealt with the microaggressions. Some of us have dealt
Mhm.
with actual violence and hate speech and all this shit. But that isn't every interaction. Sometimes you're just not the best person for the job.
And I
Sometimes your
think by
idea
now,
is
if I've ever had a conversation like that with you, I would have definitely read into you and told you, no.
abso-fucking-lutely. Like, it it blows my fucking
Yeah.
mind. I've never I
I would
hmm,
say earlier in my career, I would not have, not you in particular, but now that I know better and that I'm at some kind of way, that I would never let that happen to me again. I I don't. I've actually been in rooms where we've had rough conversations with people, and we're like,
mhm.
"Ooh, if your XYZ was so much better, we probably would consider." Oh,
And
like,
that's it, like, sometimes your idea just isn't the best one. Like,
or it just
sometimes
needs
your
to be
competitors did
developed
better
a
than
little
you.
more or something. Like, sometimes read the room. Like, shit. Like,
It's just and when someone, doesn't when someone has a better idea or someone doesn't like your idea or you lose at a pageant, 9 times out of 10, in fact, most times, it really has zero to do with you being, trans or Muslim or black or Latina or poly or kinky or whatever. It's just fucking life. That's just what it is. And if you want to maintain relationships in the business world, in the art world, or even in your fucking personal world, then you need to learn to separate the two. Like, it's and that's the thing, like, nobody wants to have their idea be like, oh, probably not the best idea for, like, nobody wants
But
to hear that
I
their idea is not gonna work. Like, I get it, but also you have to look at
y'all,
things
I've had
in a
some ideas over the years, and if let's just say if Freddie had came at me wrong, I would probably be sitting here by myself.
Mm,
But I don't I don't think even as sarcastic as I can be and as you can be, I don't ever think that first of all, I think they were offended that you said no to their friend. Because you know how that goes. Some people are like, "This is my friend. This is how this is gonna go, and I'm putting them in because
that
I can."
that hitting a
Not
little
because they're the
closer.
best, but
Right,
because I can.
right.
Now, we've been in things together where you've come up to me and been like, that was not good." Um, and maybe you don't put me in stuff for a little bit, but, I what the fuck? But it's the truth, right? And so, like, I don't like go home and write a Facebook post that says, well, fuck him. He didn't put me in the show. He didn't do this. And it's all his fault because I didn't do this. Or because I feel like this happens more than just the situation that you're talking about.
Right,
Um, keep in mind that we do have um, prior or during the pandemic, we did have that people vowed to be more diverse, and that hasn't happened.
mhm,
That is another story for another day. But I also feel like we have gotten to a point where people don't want to hear the critiques. They don't want to hear
right,
that maybe there was miscommunication and maybe we can compromise. Maybe all the ideas can sit at the table and then we shuffle them out. People are not willing to sit down and be one-on-one anymore, because I think the pandemic fucked us up royally,
yeah,
where we don't really talk to each other. We have expectations, and if you watch the show enough, we have talked about communication so much in depth
oh my
that
god,
we could
Jesus.
probably teach a psychology course on communication. I believe in communication. Um, you may have to repeat things over and over to me, but
Right,
I also believe that if I don't know how you stand and you expect something from me, it's not my fault that you have that expectation.
right,
Nor is it somebody else's fault that you have that expectation. You haven't
right,
communicated that expectation
and
to the
honestly,
fact
oh,
that
go ahead.
if you expected your friend, I'm saying this as if they're watching because I feel like haters love to watch. But if you expected something and you realize that this wasn't going your way, you should have said, okay, A, B, and C needs to happen for me to stay on board instead of leaving abruptly and then going behind somebody's back and reporting it. Because that happens to me like at work sometimes,
Right,
like I'm too aggressive if I hear that. Anyway, but like come to the table and say like this is not the time or place that we're going to have this conversation, but maybe we would consider A, B, and C. My friend really wanted to be in the show. Like,
like, it was literally like, okay, so you're not even listening, you're not even looking at any of the logistical things that are why this isn't a good idea. Things like compensation, things like the mess, things like the fact that you admitted that you are not in the scene and you know nothing about the scene,
but
and
also
I can't vet
sometimes
these people.
we have to
And
we have to allow the
I,
mess,
I
uh,
know, I
because
know.
the mess is sometimes how people learn. Because the mess as y'all have come after me and said, "Don't mess with the mess." Um, the mess will sometimes do itself away.
And that's
Um,
kind of right. And it's hard. And it was just like it really fucking upset me because I like to be told like that I'm like oblivious, mediocre white privilege. What was keeping me from listening to them. I'm sorry, but I will call bullshit on that. I will.
so
If it was a
I
legitimate thing, if it was
oh yeah.
if it was a legitimate, okay, yes, I'm throwing my privilege around or whatever the fuck, then I'm willing to hear that. Lord knows I don't necessarily want to hear it, but I will hear it. But because, you know, there are times like we've all fucking grown. I know that I've grown in the last few years. I know that, you know, looking back, you have Facebook memories that pop up and you're like, ew, like that wasn't the best thing, but it's all right. You know, it's fine.
I
I would,
still
you
have
know,
posts from like last week that I'm like, mm.
but you know, I will acknowledge and I will move on if it is, you know, something that is a legitimate thing like that. And to just have it thrown out there like
Also, I want to
no.
say you two are better than me because this is the thing. Through a lot of therapy. I used to do this thing at work where I see a project going wrong and I just want to put all of my hands in it. I just want to like, no, it can't go wrong. We have to do this, this, and I become in charge. And it's overwhelming for some people because then they're like, how did they get in charge? And also, some people are destined to make mistakes and you have to let them make mistakes. But I would have said, like, if this had gone any further, that I would have said, watch the mess. Like, just back up for
Well,
a minute and watch the mess.
so that may still be happening. It is undecided yet.
Oh, see, this
Um
is one of those moments where you have to say,
because of the situation and because of who these people are. And we did actually with the with the first idea that they brought up in that Zoom meeting, we were
mhm,
like, I don't really like this idea, but okay, they can go ahead and do this. And that was something completely different. And that's when the thing got completely derailed and it was something completely different. But because of who these people are and because of their personalities,
mhm.
mm, we may or may not decide
So,
to continue to be involved in this. So, which Lord knows I do not pull out of things. I don't.
well, and that's how
So
babies are made. So,
if I
um,
if I decide to like not do this, then I for the people that know me that speaks volumes because I don't not do things. That's not a thing.
and also
Um
over the years, I have learned that once sometimes you back out of what you see is coming, the train wreck, and people go, okay, let me message you to find out what's really going on.
right.
And sometimes they'll message both sides, and I'm fine with that. And then they realize, oh, you backed out for a good reason.
Right.
And then
No, but I
they
seriously
don't
doubt that anybody
participate in
would do that, but it's still like if nothing else, maybe it will encourage other people that might have had run-ins with some of these
Also,
individuals to,
my dilemma with this whole thing from your beginning is that the organizer of the event was not truly involved, even if they were going out of town. That is something like mm, that speaks.
well, the I think one of the problems now is because she's a very passive individual and very much an idealist, and she had this
Oh,
vision of how things were going to be, and not quite turning out that way. But also now that
love you,
things like
mom. You gotta go.
white privilege and things have been thrown around out there and elitism, now she's in a position where she can't really say anything. She's been put now in this position where if she backs me up with
Hmm.
these people, then she's going to, you know what I mean? So now she's in this position as a cisgender white woman that now, because that hostility has been thrown out there, now she's fucked. And these people basically have her by the balls.
But also, mm,
Yeah. It's
that's when you say, if I cannot come out clean on this, let it go.
yeah.
Bye.
It's yeah.
Sounds
So
good. And
so
then when it goes completely wrong, they have facts behind it and data that,
right,
oh, the attendees didn't like this. Oh,
right,
the attendees said this on the survey.
right.
Hmm.
Right.
Okay.
And that's right. So just you have to learn to if you're a part of a marginalized community, like you have to learn to separate what is
Plus,
truly
I have really been in
an
rooms where I can tell people
Mhm.
are coming at me
Right,
because I'm black.
right. No, absolutely. And but not everything is the case. Not every
Mhm.
that's not everything. Not everything is, about me being trans. Not everything. It's sometimes it's just your idea wasn't the best. There's nothing you could have I could know nothing about you and I would still say this idea wasn't great. Like it's just I don't know. It's but yeah, like and but
Mhm.
and also to that end, if someone does call you out on privilege and you are able to take a good look at things and be like, "Oh, whoops, yeah. I fucked up there." Just acknowledge
Mhm.
it, own it and change your behavior. This, however, was not one of those situations. So, yeah. Anyway, when do we want to run through news real quick?
Yes, I have a story that's not on there.
Okay. But yeah, that's what
Um
pissed me off the fuck last night, and I'm still mad about it.
Sometimes sometimes you just have to let those people make mistakes, and then when people go, "Oh, can you come here real quick and help?" Y
Right. Or it'll be like, "Hey, so you remember how like everybody pissed you off and you left last year? Do you want to come back next year and do the things because
Yeah,
yeah."
we messed
So,
up. Sometimes you need
right.
that. Um,
Mm,
I would emphasize that if you, are one to write letters to your congressperson, your legislature, your city council, whoever, Joe Biden, I don't know, um, that gun control, gun control, gun control. We talk about it a lot on this show, gun control. And now the kids that have experienced loose gun control laws in their areas are coming out of the woodworks and contesting this as well. But I believe that we could be a little bigger, a little more. What's the word? Can it be boisterous? Can we be more tearing down the
outspoken.
yeah, outspoken about this? Um, so what was supposed to be a great day for the Kansas City Chiefs turned into an awful day. After the Super Bowl parade of their victory parade in Kansas City, somebody shot into the crowd, massacre shooting. I believe that only one was injured the last time I checked. I haven't checked in a little bit, but maybe five people were injured. One dead. Did I say that? Um, and I believe that most of the injured were kids. And I think that's the part
Of
that
course they were. Of course they
hit
were.
me was, of course, there are kids at this because when I was a kid, I wanted to see like uh authors or um even if I wasn't into sports to see like famous people.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um so why? And also applaud those that risk their lives to catch the shooters as well as the public folk that basically did like a attack on one of the I think there was two people. I have to read more on it, but I felt like it was not needed. It also these things are never needed. Um, that's all. I've gun control. Mhm.
Oh, good lord. On a slightly more positive note, sort of, a librarian in Massachusetts is hiding burner phones and books to help victims of domestic violence. It's kind of a cool project. The phones are programmed with the numbers and emails of local shelters, um, free legal help, and other social services. And the librarian is a survivor of domestic abuse herself, so she kind of
Mm,
knows what she's doing here. Um, the books are discarded books from the library, so they're books that are going to get thrown out anyway. So
mm.
she removes the library stamp and she removes the barcode, so that they can't be traced back. And she's kind of created this entire underground grassroots library and social justice movement to help distribute them, which is kind of cool.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
We should share that. That is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Um, character actors at Disneyland are looking to join a union. They were talking about this several years ago. Oh,
I know it's coming back around. I think they have enough votes to be able to do it now.
uh-oh. Actors at Disney World have been in a union for years and reportedly paid more than their Disneyland counterparts. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that some positions they do start you at minimum wage, no matter your hours, your experience,
Yep.
um, and does not sit well with some folks, especially
I'm
when they
like,
do that.
unionize, fucking do it, especially if you're in a multi-billion-dollar a year like company. Like, come on, like, pay your people.
Yeah. Um.
And
Oh, our girl is back. Mm,
so, well, yes and no. So since George Santos exited the House, shall we say, um, the New York representative that took his spot is a Democrat, which narrows the GOP's House majority even more, which the Republicans are not happy about because now they're only the majority by a slim margin instead
I
of like
need
this
both of them
overwhelm.
to
Like
get their
it's
acts
amazing how
together.
like one person can make a difference,
Mm,
but it should make things interesting. That's for sure.
mm, mm. um.
Not that any politician is a good politician, but I'd rather fill the House with, left leaning folks than right leaning folks at this point.
At this point, I don't. I'm very confused and not satisfied by any of them.
No.
Um, but that's my opinion. You take it as you will. Um, whew, yeah, news was very heavy this week. I didn't, yes, register to vote by February 20th in Arizona. Early voting begins February 21st. Why do I know that? Because I got the postcard and I looked at it before I came in here.
Our oldest is
Uh,
actually, our oldest son, I guess, is old enough to vote now. So you better
oh,
believe that when it comes time.
just don't get mad at them if they vote opposite of you.
Oh, no, I will. I will punch him in the balls.
Oh, wow. Violence in the house. Acceptable, I guess.
I'm like, you better not fucking vote for anybody right leaning. I will beat your ass,
Uh,
ground you. Like,
do not
mm-mm.
vote for the orange man because somehow this man is making his way through the system.
What do we have coming up for
Um,
next gigs? What is going on? Oh, this Sunday you will not be there, but I will.
mhm.
Myself, Ben Havoc, Justin Sider, I believe Rita Bain and Serotonin are all going to be at the Ren Fair for LGBTQ Day. We are going to be there in an official capacity, as basically guests of royal honor, something I don't know. But we'll be looking really
Festive.
fairy-ish. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Um,
I'm excited.
I would be there, but something is telling me that after working on Saturday for 14 hours, I will not be at the best capacity for anyone,
Boo.
including my family. But they'll have
Boo.
to deal with me anyway.
Boo.
Visitors from the Royal Court of Melrose.
Right.
Interesting. But I love to participate in stuff like this. So, um, it took a
It's not
lot
too
of
late.
Yeah, I just don't want to be. Nope. I really have to think body wise. I'm not going to be at capacity.
Whatever.
Mm-mm.
And then March 1st, a gaggle of us are going to be in Tucson for the Good, the Bad, and the Naughty at Wild Wild West Con 12, which I'm so fucking excited about. Oh my god, it's going to be so good. Hopefully, I'll know my music by then. But I also have to finish up a
Wait, the
couple
show producer
things.
that begged us for music doesn't have his own music?
Oh no, I have it. I just
Oh.
I have it. I'm just still learning a part of it. For some reason, my brain it's got numbers in it, and my brain is not. It's fine.
Oh.
But I'm
Understood.
producing. Felicia will be there. Ben Havoc will be there. Justin Sider will be there. Rita Bain will be there. Isis DeFrost will be there. A bunch of burlesque performers are going to be there, and it's going to be emceed by Madame Askew and the Grand Arbiter. So it is going to be a kick-ass show. I think it's going to be. I know it's going to be better than last year. We've just upped the game. So it's very exciting. Everybody is super stoked, and I am very excited for it.
Yeah. I wish we could do sound effects. I haven't figured that part out.
I know. Oh, Justin Sider is painting faces for $5 at Campbell's Market and
Craft fair.
Craft Fair on 91st Avenue and Pinnacle Peak Parkway. Where the fuck is that?
That sounds very far, especially for me.
That's 91st Avenue and Pinnacle Peak. Where the hell even is that? Is that out by our car dealership, babe? I feel like that's out by our car dealership. That seems very far. Very far. Like pack an extra like gas can and a lunch. I don't know.
North Peoria? Oh, near
do people still
California.
live out there? Like, but if you're out that way and you have nothing to do, or you suddenly find yourself way the fuck out in bumfuck nowhere, go and see Justin Snyder and have your face painted because they do a phenomenal job.
When is
I would
that?
go, but it's very far out. Saturday. It's very far away, and we have a thing that we have to do for my partner's work or something. I don't know. There's something going on.
I'm working, so that's
Stuff.
not
I don't know.
feasible.
But yes. What else do you have going on, Felicia? Anything?
March 27th, I have drag bingo at Drink Me Tea Room. And it's
Oh
also
yes,
on
this will be
Wednesday.
interesting
This
to
will be
see.
our first test to see if I can actually shut my mouth and arrive here on time.
We shall see. We're gonna start the pool at 5-1. I'll start taking bets after this
I hate
broadcast to see
you. Oh
who
my
thinks
god.
Felicia will actually make it here on time
Well, if
after
that goes
bingo
towards
on the
sponsoring us,
27th.
yeah, go for it.
We'll do a
'Cause I'm
50-50
sure most
raffle
of you
to
will bet
see.
No, I'm sure most of you will bet that I will be late, and that's completely unfair, and I feel like
Is it?
you all are against me. Oh, wait, what's the line? What's the line?
Oh,
"You're using your elitism and white privilege to be
no,
against
it's
me."
oblivious. Hang on. It is oblivious mediocre white privilege. That's what it is.
Those are very big
Oblivious
words.
mediocre white privilege, which I'm like, honey, I am anything but mediocre, so fuck you.
Wow. Are these You know what this reminds me of? Because my husband is in this business of, like, the apartment rental thing, and,
Mhm.
so a lot of people that are, like, threatened usually use, like, "I'm gonna call my lawyer," and they're usually the people that are, like, back paid on rent, like, 6 months, and you're like,
Right, but yeah,
"You can afford a lawyer, but you couldn't pay your rent upfront?"
right. It's like, okay, you go ahead and you do that.
And so
See how
that's
far
what
that
that
gets you.
reminds me of. Anyway, um, take your bets. I'm offended. Bet even more so that we can pay for this podcast and um, eventually just be independently wealthy so we can produce our own mediocre shows and deal with other mediocre people that think we're using our privilege. Mhm, mhm. Thank you for watching us and joining the conversation tonight. We are your Wednesday night conversation, and we want to thank those that watch live, that donate stars, even though we only get 11 cents, and watch on the replay. We are almost at 15,000.
Oh shit! We're almost at 15,000. That's exciting.
We're almost at 15,000
Yeah.
downloads, y'all.
Join us next week then for more oblivious mediocre white privilege, because that's apparently what gets us the views and the downloads.
Oh, well, I guess I won't show up next week then, because I'm neither of those things.
What's the date next week anyway? Is it
The 21st?
Oh, so you have 2 weeks then to.
No, on March 27th.
Oh, March 27th.
You have a whole month to collect bets.
Oh.
Y'all are against me. Anyway, have a good night, and we will see you next week for your Wednesday night conversation.
Good night.